Hey Christy, how's it going today?
Hey Doug, good to see you.
So, we're here for another update for the Income Accelerator, the 2X Income Accelerator case study. So, we're through April, and how did it go?
It went very well. I was a little bit surprised, to be honest with you. After March was so good, I thought it was definitely a fluke, but it wasn't. So we're on
So,
the up.
so where are we at income wise? And if people didn't see the last update, basically traffic was up for a lot of March, and then it sort of um, dipped a little bit, but then that's where we left it. So it
Right.
was sort of on a little bit of a decline. So yeah, where are we at with revenue and traffic?
Traffic did recover. I wouldn't say it was as noticeably high every day as it had been in March, but I was pleasantly surprised that on the average, we still got to, I think it was 99,000 visitors versus last month was 103, I think I sneaked over. So still really good, much better than I had had in previous months, which were closer to 70, 75,000. So still definitely a tick up, which is great. And then my income for April ended up being actually higher than March, and it was about 6,200, 300. So that was awesome because my goal for the year is to get it consistently to seven, which is now seeming more realistic and less of a pipe dream. So that's exciting.
Yeah, congratulations. It's great to see the consistency with the revenue, especially with potentially a decline in traffic. And we're a couple
Mhm.
days into May right now, and it looks like things are pretty good right now in general.
Yeah,
So what's
agreed.
the breakdown for the revenue, just sort of in a general sense? I think this is important to highlight.
Sure. My site is almost exactly 50-50 income from Amazon affiliates and advertising. So I use a Mediavine as my ad platform. And I'm always still playing around with that because you can turn ads on and off for specific pages. So last month I was turning them off for pages that I had started promoting my own content on. So new digital guides that I made, I turned off ads on those pages. So overall, there's less ads there than before, but I really didn't lose ad income. It actually went up. So that's kind of interesting.
Very cool.
So
So about 50% from Mediavine, the other half from Amazon. And you texted me a couple weeks ago and you said, hey, somebody actually bought one of the digital guides. So, how are those essentially ebooks selling for you?
I have no idea what I should expect, but I sold four of them in the first month. They're a low cost item, so it's $8.99 per guide. So I made about 35 bucks, but that was actually more than I made off of my Etsy affiliate, which I had always thought was valuable before. Like I've been keeping that since the beginning. So I look forward to starting a new column on my tracker for my own guides and then watching that hopefully grow too. I just need to figure out the right kind of promotional puzzle for those.
How have you been promoting so far?
So far, I put them into the knowledge directory that I made, which was the directory with all of the courses and resources from other people in my niche that was new last month. So I loaded my own guides into that as well. And then I added probably 20 to 30 graphic CTAs in specific blogs about relevant topics for each guide. And then I shut off ads on those pages. So far, not a whole lot of promotion, just putting them a couple of places within existing blogs. What I plan to do this month to add on is add some text CTAs, which I know you have a lot of success with. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I want to basically just kind of pull some levers and see if anything happens to work better than other things. But yeah, that's what I've got so far. They're going to be starting to be in emails, adding to the drip sequence, stuff like that. So we'll just have to see what works. But I was just happy to see that the sales process worked. Shopify worked. The money ended up in my account. So that's all good to have when it's just a few, and I can confirm it actually is working.
Awesome. Yeah. In real live customers, not just the like the test that you or your
Right.
developer are running. So congrats. It's pretty cool when someone pays you directly and there's no middleman in the way taking their
Yep.
cut. So that's pretty awesome. And I think it's also cool that you've sold them in such a passive way. Have
Mhm.
you sent out any emails at all promoting it?
No.
Is there something holding you back from doing that?
So what was holding me back sort of was that I was batching a bunch of new emails at the same time, creating those with my team because I wanted to basically take all of the courses that were in the directory and group them into topics and then make new drip sequence emails based on those topics. So I'm not a huge fan of just making one-off emails over and over and over for individual things to sell. I didn't want to necessarily do that. So it took me a little bit of time to go through the 30 or 40 listings in the directory, bundle them into different topics, and then also tell my team, like, here's the other blog post that I want to be promoting within that email about X topic. So we were just kind of doing the whole batch of them at once. And then now we can roll them all out, put them all in the sequence, and also send them all to our existing list. So that's the plan. But it took me a
Gotcha.
little longer.
And with so I'm just going to put on my coach's hat, even though
Mhm.
we're recording here. You set up so many hurdles to prevent you from selling your thing that I want to jump through the camera and
Yep.
with masks on, shake you and say, hey, why
Yeah, I'm
did you make it
vaccinated.
so hard? So batching is good for efficiency in some ways, but it's not
Mhm.
very effective if you're trying to sell one thing, which, I mean, I know if you sold one of the other courses
Mhm.
that maybe it's a couple $100, you
Mhm.
could make a lot of money if you do it. So you gain some efficiencies by like sort of scaling in that way, and you can do the whole batch together, your whole
Mhm.
knowledge directory. However, if you sell your own thing, you get all the money, and then I think
Mhm.
you would probably learn more faster. And as someone who I literally will manually launch my courses, and it does take more time, but if you're not sure what works yet, you've just
Right.
scaled this whole thing that you are unsure of the effectiveness or
Mhm.
if your email list is going to like it.
Yeah.
So I like to test, and I like to do like, all right, we'll just do this one thing. Let's ship this one thing and sell that, not
Mhm.
sell a whole big package. So I think you've already done the thing you're talking about, but I would say until you have the formula that works, which will always be
Mhm.
a moving target, I would not have scaled it or advised you to do that whole thing. I would say like just trying to sell your one product, that'll be a bigger leverage point at this point in
Would
time, I
you
think.
would you send just multiple emails about a single guide? Or like I just don't know what that would look like if I'm repeatedly sending, like a one-off sales email to my list. Like how often do you even do that?
It's totally up to you. I'm super conservative with it, so I will often, although I'm getting better at it, but before I would send just informational, helpful, entertaining, hopefully entertaining emails.
Fairly entertaining.
Yeah, 90% of the time, and then I would sell pretty aggressively the other
Uh-huh.
10%. And as time has gone on and the market has changed, I'm actually putting some ads which are sales oriented in my emails. And I will occasionally promote something, and I see my peers, they're selling every, say, 3 to 4 emails. Some of them sell every
Right.
single email. I think that's too much and not in line with my brand or your brand or anything like
Mhm.
that. But you can sell a lot more than you think, especially if more than we're comfortable with, especially if you can make the email entertaining in some way, even if the person is not going to purchase the product,
Mhm.
you've taught them something or you made them laugh or it's building community or whatever. There's a lot of ways you could bring value while you're still pitching something. So, and the fact is, at a $9 product, it's not as crazy. Like if I tried to sell a $300 product, like
Mhm.
every single email I sent, people get
Right.
totally sick of it. So I would potentially, send those one-offs. How often are your autoresponder emails going out?
We have a sequence of about 10 that go every week, I believe, once someone signs up. So I just had them add another probably 10 to it. So now it would be 20 over 20 weeks.
Okay. So if you wanted to add your product into the mix, does that mean it's going to be 20 weeks out before they get it?
Well, no, because we would add it to the drip sequence for new people, but then we would go ahead and automatically send them to our entire list right now. So
Okay.
we can do it in both.
Okay. But if a new person signed up for your email list, they would not get it for 20 weeks because it's at the end of the list.
Well, I think we could reorder them. That's a good question. I will look at that. I have not pursued that, but
Yeah. So
yeah.
these are all issues I've dealt with. So
Mhm.
you should be able to reorder them, but
Yep.
then you're going to run into the issue. Hey, what if someone just got
Already
that
got.
email
Yeah.
and then you resort it? It
Right.
turns out, don't worry about it. It's not going to be perfect. People don't mind. You're lucky if they open the email. More
Hmm.
people did not open the email than opened it, even
Right.
for a very fantastic list that's well
Hmm.
matched. So don't worry. You can send them the same email again. You will drive yourself crazy if you try to surgically like
Right.
reorder it and make sure that you don't send the email to a person who received it before. Literally, just don't worry about it. As long as they don't get 50 emails in one day, they're going to be okay
Well,
with it.
and I think the other thing I could do is just add the promos for the guides to all the early emails too. Like I don't even know if I have to
Yeah.
reorder it. If I
Yeah.
could just add them in and
Yes.
leave the order as it is, maybe.
It's such a low
Yeah.
cost item. Like it would be perfect to put in. Check out some of my recent emails where I have sponsors in there and stuff. But yeah, you could put in a little section. Hey, do you like what I'm
Hmm.
doing? Do you want to help support me? Here's a
Right.
guide. I would love it if you purchase. It doesn't have to be and it could be just at the end. So if someone's really engaged and they read the whole email, maybe they have a
Yep.
look. So,
Okay.
overall, I think
Mhm.
um, you have an opportunity to send an email to like sell something. You have how many people on your email list now?
Like 2,400, I think.
Awesome. And you're growing at roughly 10% per month.
Hmm.
Okay. Which is amazing. I mean, that's
Oh,
really,
good.
yeah, that's
I have
really
no
good.
idea.
And I mean, the thing is, you've been able to, create that autoresponder. People are engaged. I can't remember um, in your update if you mentioned the open rate or click through rate or anything. Do you have a handle on that at all?
I have not looked that up lately, but I can say like 95% of our signups come through the single pop-up that we have for MailerLite that is a subscription, and it has a little carrot on it of a free tool basically they would give out. So that seems to be working. And then the other like minuscule amount comparatively is from the static sidebar sign up. So I don't even know why I still have that, but it's there.
Okay.
But yeah, most of them are just from that single pop-up.
Okay. Got it. So I think overall, back to the email thing, probably if you add a little promo for your
Mhm.
own product in the, say, every fourth email or every
Yep.
third email in the first 10 or however many it's expanding
Yep.
to. And then as you have more digital guides or the
Mhm.
courses, then you'll have the opportunity to make sure that the promo is in the
Right.
best aligned email topic.
Okay. Mhm.
All right. And okay, so another thing that you've been working on is like an actual online course. So, how's that
Right.
going right now?
So I finally chosen my topic. That took me longer than I thought, but I wanted to kind of make sure that it wasn't already done 50 times, because it seems kind of like a basic topic for my niche, but in everything that we have in the directory, like no one is doing that. So it seemed like a good fit. So I picked that. And then I actually have a team that is helping me with the whole course development. So it's a friend of mine. I kind of talked her into offering courses for my niche because I think it's a great idea. And a lot of people would buy them because they don't want to make them. So I'm kind of her test case that we're doing. So I filled out some questionnaires for her about the content, and she just delivered back last week basically a user journey that is kind of a detailed outline of every module and course and what it should include. So I can now take that to my Upwork writer and get her started on the draft of the content. But my goal is to get this thing live by July 1. So not that far, but I think that's enough time. Where I'll probably end up getting a little bit stuck is how to launch a course. I have no idea. like I don't know. I don't know what that process should look like. So that's probably going to be all of our coaching calls from now on. But I don't know if you have any, introductory shortened versions of what a good launch looks like or doesn't. So because that'll be my summer project for sure.
It'll take a few iterations for you to figure it out. And one of the good things is by then you will have already tried to sell your digital guides a little bit more. So you'll have an idea what works there. One thing you can do is sign up for some people that you know, like the email list of people
Mhm.
that you know have courses that can run you through a funnel and see what that looks like. You will see people, testing and doing things. Some launches suck, and you'll kind of go through
Right.
and see the ones that work versus the ones that don't work. In general, I like to send out a few emails the preceding week or weeks that sort of prep the
Teasers.
email subscribers that actually not teasers exactly, but just let them know that they will be getting a pitch soon, and the
Yep.
best way to do it is sort of guide them to the point where the next logical step is to get the course. So you have to think a couple steps before they would actually need the course, and then kind of
Mhm.
lead them to that direction. It Yeah, it depends on specific courses. I've done sort of the same thing for multiple courses. Sometimes it doesn't work as well. Sometimes maybe it's the wrong audience or wrong timing or something like that. Other times it's just a couple other things going on that are, maybe they're tweaks you can make on a
Sure.
technical level. Maybe it's like a payment plan or something like that that changes the offering, and then
Mhm.
that makes everything different. So, but overall, I think one of the biggest mistakes is people will just send out one email and try to make it a launch email. But
Oh,
really, you
huh.
have to prepare the audience to
Okay.
receive that information about the launch. Otherwise, it's just a sales email and they won't pay much attention. So it's great to have like a narrative that threads its way through a series of emails and has, some ups and downs and some open loops, so they want to read the next thing.
Do you, when you have a new course that you're pitching, or like the mini courses that you've done that are a bit more specific, like list building or kind of things of that scope, do you then go back through your blog and put in a bunch of calls to action for it, or do you even sell it that way? Is it
I
mostly
pretty
email?
much, it's email.
Okay.
And I was talking to a friend who he's a lot, he's far more advanced and has a much bigger email list, and
Mhm.
he's a successful person. And I think he has some calls to action on his blog, and he gets, a lot more traffic than me, like 15 times the amount of traffic. So
Mhm.
it's significant.
Yep.
But to answer your question, I don't
Okay.
really put that many calls to action. In fact, I was looking back at my blog, and I saw that I'm linking to an old course that I don't even sell
Oh,
anymore like 50 times. And it almost doesn't even matter. Like it didn't impact anything. I sell
huh.
nothing directly. It's all through email. And my,
Uh-huh.
my friend, he said, yeah, basically
Mm.
the email is where I make most of the sales, because
Okay.
if it's on, if it's on YouTube, people are distracted.
Right.
People do sell stuff on YouTube, of course, but
Mhm.
it hasn't worked for me, and I I don't know how to
Yeah.
do it on YouTube. But
Yeah.
emails, people open the emails and then they're not as distracted.
Do you do any Facebook ads for courses or
No.
digital products or anything like that?
No, I tried some ads on Facebook, but being the make money online industry, it was just
Right.
kind of
Crowded?
sleazy. Yeah, it was weird, and I was like, this
Yeah.
this is not enjoyable,
Yeah.
and I'll just go slower. One thing that happened with mine is that I would get all these comments, people hating on the ad or whatever. Your industry is different, so I
Uh-huh.
think it potentially could
Right.
work really well. Especially you can have those ads on Instagram and Facebook,
Mhm.
and I mean, I think
Right.
it'd work really well for
Well,
that
I thought
industry.
about trying one for the guide just because it's low hanging fruit and, you know, ads are cheap and
Yeah.
maybe
I
just
don't,
to test it.
yeah. And I mean, it's all relative. The ads could be, they could be expensive, but
Yeah.
it depends on what you're advertising and
Right.
how you're targeting.
Yep.
So the hard part, I think, well, how much are you going to charge for the online course?
Well, I don't know exactly. It's going to be what you and I discussed is kind of like a mini course. So 4 modules, 4 lessons each. So 16 kind of blocks. But I feel like maybe, I don't know, $200 maybe, or
Sure.
I really have no idea. I guess I'll look at the directory and see what's similar. It seems like the courses that are similar size that I'm listing for other people are around $150. So maybe something like that. I mean,
That
it's by
seems
no
right.
means like, yeah, it's not like the big transformational type of course. Like, it's not like your big course that I took from you. Like, it's much smaller, more specific than that. But I'd be happy if somebody, you know, paid 150 for kind of a mini tutorial on a topic. I think that's pretty good.
Sure. And I probably should have never said mini course, because it's just a course. It's just a smaller
I know,
topic.
but it
Yeah.
seems more attainable when we say mini. So it
So,
mentally works for me.
okay. So it is just a course, especially 4 units with 4 lessons each. That's pretty, I mean, that's a good chunk of content. Now, is it going to be a video course?
So I might have a couple videos to go with it, but it'll be primarily written. And I think that's okay. It's not like a how-to type of topic. So it's not like how to go sailboating. Like it's
Okay.
nothing like that. So
Okay.
it's more informational than tutorial.
Got it. So in that case, I think so video you could charge a lot more for.
Okay.
So I think having some video would
Yeah, I'll
be kind of,
probably
because
intersperse some.
okay. And who is going to be in that video? Is your team going to do that?
In theory, it would be me. In theory, I'm not sure I want to, but you know how I am in that video.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so you'll figure that part
We'll figure
out.
that part out.
And I mean,
But there
you
will
can
be like
hire
some,
people.
I know, I'm not above that for sure. And I do have a friend that does videos, so I may call in that friendship.
Yeah.
But there will be like some worksheets per module. There might be like a couple of little quizzes. So there will be other interactive parts to it besides just written content. But it's not going to be like a full video course where everything is video.
Okay. Perfect. And I think I have at least one course like that where it's mostly written and then there's
Mhm.
some video in there. And then I think all my courses, there's at least a couple lessons or pieces that are written because that's a better format
Right,
to consume it. Or sometimes things are more fluid and they will
right,
change over time. It's a pain in
right.
the ass to do a new video, but it's pretty easy to update some screenshots or text.
And sometimes it seems like you will do kind of like module openers, like intro videos that aren't necessarily in the weeds, and then cover that in the written content, which I think is good too. Because the other thing
Mhm.
I could do is some more like animated slide style video, and that would be more easy to update. So I could do that too.
Okay, cool. Anything else with the course?
I don't think so. I guess I'm just thinking the directory that I made is kind of a good practice run for having my own course. So I would like to figure out the promotional puzzle on that one because I didn't actually sell any of the courses from the directory last month, which was its first month in existence. However, I was seeing traffic go to those pages and click through to the providers pages, which I think is very good. And at some point, right, I can't control whether someone likes another person's sales page.
Hmm.
There's nothing I can do to make them convert more once they get there. But I do like seeing the traffic is going there. So I think for me, it's just increasing the amount of traffic that gets to the directory pages is the biggest thing that I can control.
All right. And similar to your digital product, how are you promoting the knowledge directory currently?
I've done almost nothing. I have a static sidebar promo graphic right now, and then I added it to the main navigation, and that's like literally all I've done. So
Okay.
I have much work to do on actually promoting every individual course. But for me, that means going back through all of my blog posts, which we're now up above 400, and strategically putting in the relevant courses for those topics. So I'm hopeful that that would be impactful, but it's just something that is going to take me a while because it's 30 or 40 courses, 400 blogs, and kind of doing the mix and match. So it's going to
Okay.
take some time.
Again, I feel like you're putting up hurdles that are unnecessary.
Well, plus email, plus email. I should throw that out there.
Yeah.
Those are in the works.
So I think all you, in the simplest way, I think you can send out, and because you could send out a broadcast email to
Mhm.
everyone. So
Yep.
you could send out an email, hey, I put together this knowledge directory with all these different courses
Yep.
and check it out. Would love to get your feedback on anything.
We do have
Um,
that email built, just not sent.
why are you putting everything in the autoresponder, not sending emails out real time?
It will be sent to everybody also. So I have two emails built that are kind of the announcement style.
Yeah.
So one will go to the 2,400 people we already have, and the other one gets dumped into the sequence. I was waiting to make sure that all of our URLs were not going to change for the directory. Um, just to make sure I wasn't going to do like different pretty links or whatever.
Sure.
So anyway,
Okay.
that's how it worked. But they're
Okay.
built. They will be sent. Promise.
Okay.
Promise.
All right. Well, and I'm definitely guilty of sending out emails to something that's incomplete or not done or imperfect. But I sell a lot of shit, so I'm okay with it.
Well, and you suggested, which was the right idea, to like strip ads off of all the directory pages, strip the sidebar off,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to do
That
that
took
before I
time.
sent,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know. But
That's true. That's true.
part of it is that
So,
I, yeah, like paying for my life with the site. So I don't have like the level of, I need to sell everything right now. I'm kind of like, this is cool. It's working on its own. Like it made
yeah, yeah.
$6,000 by itself, which is kind of amazing. So if I can make, the extra $800 gap at some point in the near future, like that's bananas.
It'll be
So yeah,
soon.
and they just not have the sense of, again, the emails will go out
Okay.
soon.
And one thing I understand. First, I understand. That makes sense. The other part is after, as you know, working in a corporate environment, there's the bureaucracy and just the slowness of everything.
Right.
And one thing I love is I can get an idea and
Yep.
then sell a course next week.
Right.
Or I could think, oh, you know what? I'm just going to send out that email this afternoon. And I could
Right.
just do it. I don't have to wait. You have a bigger team. There are
Mhm.
those layers of delay, and you're more of a perfectionist. So it all, my impatience is, I see why it's different on your end. So I understand.
Well, you make more off of your sites than I do off of mine, so I think you still get to win that. And that, the way you're doing it is pretty darn valid. So once I skip you in that line, then maybe we'll do it my way. But yeah, I think it's okay to probably add a little extra speed and do it slightly less perfectionist, potentially.
They all work. Everything works. So,
One question that I have on the promotional piece for the directory. So basically, every course that I have in the directory has its own listings page. And then I click through using affiliate link to the provider's page, right? So when I'm doing it in an email, should I be sending people back to my knowledge directory page from where they have to click again? Or should I just be using the affiliate email that I have for that person's course and sending them straight there in the email and skipping the knowledge directory?
I would skip your site. So the
Okay.
more hurdles that
Yep.
you have that you put up, it's just going to hurt the conversion rate. So
Okay.
you could put your generally the information that is on your page
Uh-huh.
basically in the email, so it
Okay.
serves that purpose. The the only thing to consider is whether or not the affiliate doesn't want you, or sorry, the affiliate program doesn't want you to put that link in
Right.
the
Like,
email.
or like Amazon.
Yeah, which
Right.
Amazon so stupid, right? They're the only ones that don't want you to sell the product
Yeah.
in your
Weird.
email. Doesn't make any sense, but yeah, basically everyone else will say, yeah,
Okay.
send traffic my way. People that are interested, we love it.
Right.
Send us more. So
Right. Okay. I just wasn't sure about that for email purposes. And I guess the same thing would be true in my blog calls to action. Like, would you link to the knowledge directory if I'm already on my site? Like you saw
if
my call to actions for the guides. So things like that, if that was someone else's course, would you just link straight to the course or would you link to knowledge directory?
if you have content that'll prep them to
Hmm.
make the purchase on your review,
Hmm.
maybe you've linked from some post and they're marginally interested in the topic, maybe there's not a ton of overlap and you need to put them in the right state of mind before heading
Hmm.
over, then I would send them to your review first before sending them over. So
Okay.
there's no
All
right
right. So
answer for
email
that.
conduct, I will update those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And yeah, and anything else on the knowledge directory?
I don't think so. The only other thing I wanted to ask you about in general was kind of this web core vitals stuff that I'm hearing about, and if you think that's super duper important to the future, or why, like, you sent me a tool that I'm going to try to improve my scores and all of that. But like, that's just something I don't know anything about.
Okay. So in before I answer that, I will backtrack just thinking of the knowledge directory
Mhm.
and the the fact that a lot of people have gone there, some people have clicked through, no purchases have been made, no sales. One key thing is having the right traffic interested in actually making a purchase. So that could be the disconnect, right? So
Okay.
buyers keywords essentially. So if you just have random traffic, it's going to convert at a much different level than
Mhm.
people that raise their hand, they're searching for the blah
Right.
blah blah review on this course. So that could be one of the huge
Okay.
things, and it's you have to have like a giant volume to make sales if people aren't
Right.
asking for it specifically. Okay, so one one thing, number one, for the core web vitals, so that was going to be pushed out in May 2021. It looks like it's going to be at least in June or beyond. I've heard people say it'll be like, even further, a few months out.
Okay.
One reason why I put you in touch with the service, which I'll share more
Mhm.
about once you get some results from it, because you have ads on your site, because you have a lot of other plugins and a lot of functionality, it's extremely slow compared to other sites. And when you have display ads, it's just going to be slow. There's some
Sure.
real time auctioning, there's multiple calls, there's sometimes, do you have videos playing on your site?
There's a couple. There's not a ton.
So, videos, overlays, some other things is just going to slow things down. So, that's one of the reasons. And I think just ignore the web vitals. Your
Yep.
site needed to be spruced up in some
Yep.
capacity because of that. With the web vitals, I am largely I'm a headline reader in a lot of ways. So there are certain I'm learning more about it, but essentially it's a user experience situation. And for the most part, I feel like this is purely my opinion.
Mhm.
If your site is loading pretty fast for most users most of the time, it's probably going to be okay. Even if you have
Okay.
ads and you're not like the worst site in
Yep.
your sort of core cohort, you're going to be
Mhm.
okay. For me, I have some very fast loading sites. It's fairly minimalist. People can go to an niche site project and run some tests.
Yep.
And my site loads pretty fast, but when you go look at the core web vitals, sometimes there's like the first contentful paint or the largest
Oh,
there's
uh-huh.
a couple
Right.
acronyms there, and my site still loads in like half a second, but
Hmm.
I'll get knocked for like the largest paint, and I'm a little confused actually because
Yeah.
the site loads so fast most of the time, but they're showing like real users. Apparently the core web vitals takes into account real user data, so apparently, very editorialized here. Apparently, a lot of people are probably looking at my site on their phone on really shitty connections.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
loading slow, and maybe they're
Right.
even with
Yeah,
the
that's a good point.
CDN. So I'm like, I don't know how to control this. Even if it's a page with no
Right.
images, I'm getting like sort of shitty scores. So
That's interesting. Yeah. Because so much of my site traffic is mobile too,
yeah,
that I hadn't thought about where they're accessing it.
yeah. So if they're you know, in a place where they have a
Right.
3G connection and an old phone, yeah, it's
Right.
not going to work out that well overall.
Okay. Huh. I hope
So,
Google accounts for that.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. But will Google like push the update out so it either means that they thought that us webmasters weren't ready or that they weren't ready in some capacity. Maybe a combo of the two. But, like I said, I think when you peel back everything, like if you generally have a site that loads pretty fast, faster than your
Mhm.
competitors, you've worked on it, it's probably going to be okay. I'm not too worried for my sites in general. I
Yep.
will probably try to improve a couple things, but and there are services out there like the one I hooked you up with.
Yep.
They're essentially going to like clean everything up, optimize images, do all the things that are kind of a pain in the butt.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then I will not panic about it.
Yeah, I figure I'm usually a wait and see how it turns out, and they've been talking about the site speed and how important it is for so long, but when you and I've seen some studies, again, I'm very much a
Mhm.
headline reader. You see big sites that maybe have ads and they have
Right.
a horrible, like single digit Google page speed insight score, and they're
Ranking
ranking
great.
for tons of stuff.
Right.
So obviously,
Okay.
I mean, Google tells us that it makes a difference, and I believe that, but how much of a difference? Maybe it's very small.
Maybe not a weighted difference.
Yeah.
That's okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
All right. So, one other thing that I just want to touch on. So, I know you were doing another content sprint, and
Mhm.
can you tell us a little about that?
Sure. So my plan overall for the year was to do a content sprint, basically January through April, of 50 new posts, and then to do another one kind of late summer, early fall, that would be about 25 posts, and those would be more focused on holiday related stuff. So more of like the buyer's intent kind of post or product reviews or things like that. Because I do see a bump every Christmas, which is nice, more so last year. And so I wanted to maybe do a little bit more specific targeting for holiday stuff and seasonality that I don't normally do. The 50 posts that I did recently were more cluster posts, so cluster content, which is a phrase I picked up from Market Muse. So basically, figuring out the topics in general where I want to rank higher for some bigger blogs that I have, and then basically building supplemental content that's relevant to those topics, links back to the bigger posts that I'm trying to rank higher for that are tougher. And I mean, again, I can't tell exactly what gets me to $6,000, but it was a big enough jump that I feel like between the types of new content I was adding, the optimization I was doing through Market Muse of existing posts, all those things were kind of happening at the same time in early 2021. And clearly something's working and nothing is breaking what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep doing that.
Very good. That's awesome. And what one other thing I want to highlight. So you said there's about 400 posts now that are live.
Yep, just crossed 409 last night.
Okay. And we were talking earlier, and you have a much smaller percentage of affiliate review type content. And I can't remember, have you mentioned sort of the breakdown, like if you just had to estimate within 15% or so, plus or
Yeah, I
minus?
would say so. I would classify, I guess, differently product reviews versus buyer's intent posts. So I have a lot of like, top 10 insert product here, whatever. Like I have a fair amount of those, probably maybe 30% would be that. Probably 5 or 10% might be actual product reviews. Like I do very little of that. And then everything else is informational. So it definitely is more on the informational side. And I have very little like dedicated single product type reviews.
Okay. The buyer's guides, those count too. So
Okay.
you're probably at like 40% or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, I was surprised because you're making so much affiliate wise.
Well,
So I was
yeah, when I hear
floored.
product review, I just think like, I bought this lawnmower and here's the thing about it.
Yeah,
I don't do tons
gotcha.
of that. So,
Gotcha. No, no. If you're selling
okay.
stuff, then you're selling stuff.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay, yeah. I was curious. So 400 articles, and you probably have like 150 to like 180 things where you're trying to sell a product or review a best of or whatever.
That seems
Okay.
fair. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So anything else that wasn't working this month?
I mean, it's just that I haven't quite cracked the code on the directory sales, but again, like I have not put in the work on actually selling stuff. Like I did the bare minimum to get it launched
Hmm.
the last day of March because I
Yeah.
wanted to include it in my update, motivation. So April like just got busy for me, frankly, with like events and stuff. And so a lot of April, like my site just had to hang out and keep making money on its own, which I really like. So I wouldn't necessarily say that was bad. That's what I needed to be able to do. So
Perfect. All right. Yeah. Congrats again on another big month.
thanks.
And
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean, it looks like the growth is amazing. And I'm looking at the revenue graph and the revenue chart here, and
It's
it's
thanks,
just
right?
upwards. Yeah. I mean, if it continues with
Yeah.
that slope and trajectory,
Uh-huh. I could actually hit this goal, Doug.
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
proud
I
to
think
say.
it could. Is there any seasonality in your niche?
There's really not. Like I do see the December bump because of just, mostly Amazon.
Hmm.
Uh, but no, like I don't have a lot of seasonal content. My niche is year round. So,
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, I see the December jump and then a little bit of a drop, but then you exceeded that. So,
right. I mean, in December, I think I hit 4,900 something. Like I was so close to getting over five for the first time. And I would have been happy if I had gotten to five again by like June or July this year. Like that's where my expectation was. Um, so to be largely ahead of that and actually kind of close to my ideal 7K a month is bananas.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think I told you if you were started selling your own products and figured that portion out a little bit,
Right.
there's a good chance you'll be way beyond what you thought when you figure that out. And if you're publishing more content and your traffic's
Right.
growing, then you're just going to hit that probably if you didn't do anything for the next 3 months, you'd probably hit it just with all the
Yeah.
work you've done already this year.
Right. I feel pretty optimistic since it's the existing revenue channels that have gotten to 6,000 already, whereas all this extra work that I'm putting in behind the scenes on like the directory and guides and course coming this summer, like those are all extras. So if I could even reach my, 2x income goal without any of those things, then I feel pretty good about getting to the next step I didn't even plan on in 2021. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Very awesome. Well, one thing I'll leave you with, I keep thinking of things I needed to tell you. So, final thing, and we'll close out with this, is you have good relationships with some people
Mm-hmm.
with large audiences. So, one thing that you potentially could think about on a small scale, maybe test it with one or two of your contacts, is to sell that digital guide. And chances are, let's say they're a YouTuber, well, they're not
Mm-hmm.
making that much on ads. So, if you pay out 50% and
Okay.
they sell a few of those, like it's a lot
Yep.
more than if they actually
Yeah, that's a good
like
point.
got a lot of views on. I mean, AdSense is
Yeah.
pays almost nothing. It's pennies
Okay.
unless you get a ton of views. So yeah, you may be able to get them to promote it, and then you'll have partners in the future when you're rolling out these new products. When you have your bigger course, like people
Mhm.
will already be ready to work with you, and they'll
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
Okay.
affiliates.
I should do that as well. Okay. Thank you.
All
So far, so
right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll catch up with you next month.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Doug.